Hey, good morning, everybody. Mark again here, WeatherMan Plus. Now I'm going to give you the tropical update on this wave coming through the Caribbean because not only is it showing worse and worse, I'm showing we do have issues with that cold front that was supposed to block it, as well as the issues with the dust that's coming behind it. So remember, all the timestamps are in the description to help save you time. Please watch the video all the way through to help support the video. And guys, please help me wake everybody up. Everybody's enjoying this beautiful weather outside and they have something to think about. 5 days from NOAA is not enough time to prepare if this still shows true. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you subscribe because I am all year long. Matter of fact, my community has been knowing about this for over 2 weeks now. I try and stay ahead of the tropics because as we know, hurricane season can be very devastating. And according to National Hurricane Center, there still is nothing coming within the next 5 days, of course. The season does not start until the 1st, but just like I said so long ago, I do see that we're going to have slower storms this season, just like we had in Dorian 2019, that are going to be very slow moving because we have all these cold fronts. Matter of fact, over here in the upper Midwest, we didn't even get a springtime. We went straight from winter straight to summer. And your update on your potential velocity anomaly. If you've never seen this before, this lets us know when we have a strong cyclone, a potential storm coming to our area. And for the U.S., you are a 120W on the west coast, 60W on the east coast. And we've been following this since this little blue circle down here. And now it's getting closer and it's getting stronger. You even see a little piece breaking off right here, and I will explain that as well. But so far, it has moved a little bit later. Instead of the 15th, it starts on the 15th. But so far, it's starting to strengthen up around the 16th, and it's still showing all the way to the 20th. This could drag on a little further all the way to the 24th and 25th. Now, as we look at our ensemble members and see what the average is for our highs and lows and where they can potentially be, you can see right here on the 18th that it does start to add up into the Caribbean. And as you can see, it does do an average that it could break off and put something around the 20th and go over Jamaica, Cuba, and go towards Turks and Caicos. And that is mainly because this energy is still getting a lot of shear and it's going to be shredding this system as it comes through the Caribbean, and it actually could form up another one. That's why you saw that on a potential velocity anomaly of 2, because it actually still stays a wave, goes to the Western Caribbean by the 22nd, and the averages show that it will go towards the Gulf of Mexico, over Cuba, somewheres around Florida. Now at this time, not only is it getting still dry air intertwined in its center, but it's still getting a lot of wind shear, so it's still getting beat up as it comes. But the temperatures in the Gulf, the sea surface temperatures, are right to have a tropical cyclone formation. It needs to be at least 80 degrees to sustain a tropical system. And for those that are wondering, that just love the Euro because it is a great model, it has problems in the past. The Euro is not a long-range model. The GFS is. But still, the Euro that we also been following since it was way down here, it still sees a strong system as well from the 15th all the way to the 20th. And it's been showing that for a long time. At the same time, you can see how you have another piece of strong energy a little east of this system that's coming. So it's a good chance it could break off into 2 still. So as you follow the ensembles for the Euro, the SpaghettiOs, you can see that it does start to get a chance for a system to form up right on the 22nd. And as it goes through the Caribbean, it does get a chance for a cyclone to go into the Pacific. Now, we already knew this. Matter of fact, it's even been showing with NOAA Global Tropics that we could get a tropical depression or greater strength into the Pacific. But at the same time, you can see it does get a chance from the 24th to go right back into the Gulf and become potentially strong systems, or get caught by this high pressure and be a little more eastward later on down the month. But once again, the Euro is not a long-range forecast. As you can see with the global tropics, the next 10 days, the Euro shows nothing. Matter of fact, the GFS is a long-range model and has been fixed last year. If y'all remember the updates I gave you, that has been getting more forecast confidence in its medium to long range. They've really been working on the GFS. And this shows in the next 10 days, it just actually could sit there for a while, get stuck with these high pressures, and then finally be released and go into the Gulf. Now this blue is indicative to a 980 to a 999, which would make it a hurricane. I'm showing it has potential to become hurricane strength. After getting hit with the shear and this dry air, it could weaken down to a tropical storm if this still shows true. Now you can see this on your MJO, your Madden-Julian oscillation. It lets us know when we have these cold fronts coming into our country. And just to update you, 7 is your West Coast, 8 is your East Coast, and this 1 right here is your MDR, your main development region, coming from Africa, going towards the Caribbean. And you can see as we go from the 15th to the 19th that we do get that cold front coming in, but it does do a quick turn to the north as it goes into the early 20s and starts to go away from the East Coast. And we actually need this cold front to come down to shoo away any systems that could potentially come near our country. And so far, it's retracting back, guys. And you can see this on your Arctic oscillation, your AO. This is the Euro. We're going into our warm-up still, and then as we go into the 16th and on, we do get that cold front, but it don't come down as far as we need it, and it starts making its way as you go towards the 20s back to the north. You can also see this on your NAO. It's your North Atlantic oscillation. It lets you know from your center to your east coast of the U.S. if you're going into a high ridge or a deep trough. And this high ridge is what brought those warm temperatures. This deep trough is where that cold front is going to come in. And as you can see, the trough don't stay too long. As you go into the 19th, right before this storm shows up, it goes back into the high ridge because it's retracting back like I showed you on the MJO. And the worrisome part is the GFS because it is a long range model. But when you look at the AO to see about the cold front, you can see the cold front it showed before. It was keeping us protected from anything coming. It has retracted way back, guys. This cold air is not coming back. It will be starting to go away just like the MJO showed. And it will go into a higher ridge, warmer air coming instead of this cold front staying way down into the 20s and shooing away this storm. It's showing maybe it'll come back later around the 26th and 27th, but that right there is way too far to be accurate. Matter of fact, when you look at your NAO, your North Atlantic oscillation with your ridge or your trough, you can see it does come down with that little bit of cold air to a little trough, but this goes to the upper Midwest. It don't go too deep. And right when we need it, it goes into a little relaxed ridge. So it goes away. We don't have that protection that we had before. Another factor that's going to play into this storm, whether it's going to become a hurricane, a regular disorganized group of thunderstorms, or a tropical storm in our Gulf of Mexico, is our sea surface temperatures. Now, this is the latest update. This is a couple of days ago on May 10th, and this is all Celsius. But as you can see, as it goes from the Western Caribbean and goes into our Gulf, this bright green line right here is all 28 degrees Celsius, which is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. And all you need is 80 degrees to sustain a tropical system. Even if it goes a little wide east or a little wide west, this dark green right here is 27 degrees Celsius. So that's still 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which could still sustain this storm. The good news is that it's still early in the season and it didn't have time to warm up fully yet. All this bluish green you see everywhere is below 80 degrees. It's like 78 degrees Fahrenheit. So if it does swing wide west or it does curve in towards Florida, that it will start weakening down, not only with the shear, but the temperatures. It would not be able to sustain itself. And as of this morning, in the last 3 or 4 runs, it has shown it taking this warm track straight towards the panhandle of Florida. And as you can see, you got all this blue. So at the last minute, it would weaken down greatly and be either a tropical storm, a tropical depression, or even worse. So that's the good news so far. But it is a very fine line, guys. This is the latest update. This is for today. And the sea surface temperatures, if it turns early and goes towards Key Largo, towards the tip of Florida, you actually will have 83 degrees Fahrenheit, which could sustain this system. If it goes a little bit towards the panhandle of Florida, it would be at 76 degrees at the last second, so it would weaken down. But a little bit further west, it's 81 degrees Fahrenheit. So there is a fine line of where it could still warm up. If it went a little more west towards Louisiana and Mississippi, it'd be 78 degrees Fahrenheit. So if this does make it into our Gulf, so far these temperatures are so cooled down that it would definitely weaken down, especially with the shear. And I'm showing some dry air does get involved in the vorticity of this system, so it definitely would weaken down. But if it goes right in the center of this Gulf of Mexico, it is warm enough to where it could sustain a strength of a tropical system before it goes on land somewhere. Now, as we look at our possible cyclone locations, just like the SpaghettiOs with the Euro, the GFS has this. And starting on the 17th, it does start to get a possibility to form up in Central America. And as you go through, you can see there is a possibility to go over Jamaica, go over Cuba towards Turks and Caicos, a little bit of eastern Bahamas, maybe strengthen up. But as you go towards the 20th, you see there's a possibility of another one to form up Western Caribbean and going into our Gulf by the 23rd. Possibly getting even stronger and going into our Gulf by the 25th, maybe even go towards Texas or Florida. But remember, the sea surface temperatures are very cool, so once it gets out of this region in the center of the Gulf of Mexico, it will start weakening down because it won't be able to sustain a tropical system. Plus, the wind shear is still vigorously on this system. There is moments where it weakens up and it can strengthen up a little bit, but it continuously gets hit because we get some troughs coming in, and it does create a lot of shear. Now, this is all 30 perturbed members, all them lines I showed you from the possible cyclone locations. This is making it into a picture graph to where you can see what that would look like. And as we go into Thursday the 19th, you can see some of them showing it that it could be a system forming up into the Caribbean, even going a little wide into the Caribbean. But this one right here is our controlled member. That means out of all these members, this is your most likely outcome. And as we keep moving forward, you can see the more than likely outcome of what could happen to this system. It could stay a upper level low, start strengthening up by the 22nd, going to the Western Caribbean, get into our Gulf right where those waters are warm enough to sustain it, and move in for the 24th and the 25th. By then, it's still getting hit by this high pressure that is going to be expanding out, and it's going to push it to the west. That would make it towards Louisiana or Texas, guys. But at the same time, it shows it right there in the Gulf is our controlled member. You can see how all these other members are showing it. It is in multiple members that this thing has a great chance to form up and get moving through our Gulf. But once again, being your controlled member, this is the outcome that would happen out of all this. So here's a little bit closer of a look for the Gulf of Mexico, and you can see all the members showing confirmation that something is happening with this system. It could either go towards Florida, a few of them is showing that. It could go towards Texas. Well, once again, this is your controlled member, and it is showing that if it would come in, that high pressure would stretch out and it would go west, weaken down because the temperatures are just too cool in the water, plus the shear, and then go towards Louisiana, towards Texas, somewhere's a little more western in the Gulf. And you can see this change when you look at the 18Z versus the 0Z, what came out early this morning. Now, the 0Z and the 12Z are the best ones to look at for this information. Everything else in between is going to be all over the place. The 0Z and the 12Z is the only time over 500 meteorologists around the country puts up these weather balloons and gets the best data, guys. So as we look at the difference, you can see with the 18Z, all this precipitable water gets together, goes in the Caribbean, and goes east over Florida to the southeast. But when you look at the 0Z, with the update with the weather balloons, you can see that the high pressure will be stretching out. You see how fast that weakens down? I will show you why. And then it starts heading to the west, not to the east. Matter of fact, you can look at the previous runs from this system, and it does strengthen up as it goes towards the Gulf. But as you look at the previous runs, it's not just one time. This has been shown multiple times that this could get into our Gulf, guys. And when you look at our 850 millibar vorticity, not all the way up to the 500 millibar, when you look at the 850 millibar, you can see that it holds together, stays strong for the Western Caribbean, gets into our Gulf, and then it has a moment to where it weakens down, then it strengthens back up before a landfall. And the update on the wind shear. As you see the system coming through for the 20th and 21st, it starts forming up, but it's getting a lot of shear from the west to the east, northeast, and that will keep shredding this storm, knocking the precipitation away from the center to where it don't stay strong. Still, you can see there's a moment to where it weakens up, and there is a pocket to where it's still strong shear, but it's not the heavy red that you see, and it has a chance to strengthen up as it goes into the Gulf. Then the shear comes right back, and it does weaken it back down. So if it does landfall anything, it would landfall a tropical storm. At the same time, you can see how we're going into a ridge. So as it goes westward, it will get pulled east, northeast later on. And you can see this when you look at your composite reflectivity. Time and date is always above my head on this weather model, guys. As you look at it going forward, you can see that it starts to form up. But then as it goes a little bit closer with that wind shear, it starts getting ripped with some pieces of its precipitation away from its center. And as it keeps going, the shear keeps hitting it, and it keeps ripping all this moisture away from it, which is stopping it from staying strong. And you can see we actually could get two systems. One could go over Jamaica, while the other one heads towards the Gulf, while it's still getting sheared like crazy from its precipitation, keeping it weak. Then it gets into the Gulf, and you see it does weaken down again, and I'll show you why that is as well. It does get some dry air inside of it, but right before landfall, it tightens back up before landfall. And your update on the dust. We can only see up to the 14th on this one, but we are still getting this dust coming into the Western Caribbean. But as you look at the thickness of the dust, which is the biggest part of it, which would really choke out this system to where the tops wouldn't grow super huge, it wouldn't be able to keep breathing and getting stronger, and it would keep it weak, suppress, maybe even kill it. But as you keep noticing, it does head west, southwest, guys. It don't head straight to the west. It heads more of a downwards motion instead of a sidewards motion. And you can see this here on the GOES satellite. As we go all the way to the 14th and 15th, we get some dust mass in there, but it's not super thick. And this lets us see a little bit further. You can see some does finally come in as you go all the way to the 18th and on. But by then, the system is already way over here by the Western Caribbean, so it's not affecting it neither. But another thing that this does do is as we look at our relative humidity, all this precipitation getting together, and this dry air that we have in the east, we also have some dry air in the west. And as you look at the 700 millibar level, a little bit higher up, you can see as all this kind of gets together, that all this dry air gets circled around this high pressure and is not making it into the Caribbean too far. It stays back while this precipitable water moves forward. Now that's why it's been doing a lot of bundling around Central America, slow stalling because all these fronts that we've been having. But after this front passes by on the 19th and the 20th, it's able to move into our Gulf, guys. Then as you go from the 22nd and on and it gets into our Gulf, it does something good. It gets intertwined with this system, with the dry air, and then when it gets closer, it gets a little bit closer towards the center of the storm to where it chokes it out, and all the precipitation is east side loaded, and it's not able to stay strong because the dry air is getting around the center of this storm and choking it. Look at that, it's choking it out, which is a good thing. And here's a closer look for you as we go from the 24th to the 25th, that it goes into the Gulf of Mexico, but it starts getting a lot of this dry air around the center of the vortex. That is stopping it from strengthening. It needs this precipitation to stay within its center to stay strong. So not only is it getting sheared away from the center, we're getting dry air in there as well, and that's choking it out and weakens it down as it gets closer. And then it strengthens up one more time right before landfall. The dry air gets away from the center, it starts getting some precipitation towards its center, and it holds together for landfall, making it a tropical storm, if anything. But you can see it does choke it out all the way until Friday, the 27th. So this is going to definitely be a slow-moving system, just like in 2019 with Dorian. But another factor that's going to happen with this dry air, why it really don't kill this system, is as you look at the 500 millibar level way up in the atmosphere, you have the dry air coming into this system. But as you look a little bit lower at the 850 millibar system, you can see it's not really affecting it on the lower levels. It's stopping it from breathing all the way up with some big high tops, but you can see that it does not wrap around it as it comes towards landfall. It only wraps around it at the 500 millibar level, not at the 850 millibar level. So that means it would only be so strong, but it would not stop it from coming. And you can also see once it gets into the Gulf that as this cold front comes through, it comes through late. The 27th, and then as that front comes on down, if it comes on down, because you saw it maybe could come back, that's still too far to tell, guys, that it comes late and it don't hit it soon enough. I will keep you updated. You know I will. So what we talking about as possible damage? So far, not a lot of people is in the path for possible damage, but there is some people at risk. So here we are on the 20th, and from the 20th to the 27th, the precipitation that adds up from this system. So far, the 21st all the way to the 23rd and possibly the 24th. Jamaica, so far with these rain bands wrapping around this system as it comes, is not a direct hit, but the rain bands is enough, as you remember with Dorian, that you could get anywhere over a foot of rain, possibly 17, 18 inches. I will keep you updated. This information will change. Make sure you stay with the updates to stay safe. As well as the Western Caribbean islands, there could be some heavy rainfall towards you and for Western Cuba as well. Then when it gets into the Gulf and keeps moving, it's not a huge threat for the Gulf states. Possibly one area for the panhandle of Florida. But once again, as everybody knows, for hurricane season, if it shows your area, you're actually a good thing. Because we all know it never hits where it first shows itself. And sometimes it has. But most of the times, it don't. Also with the high pressure, you got this big high pressure stretching all the way out. And that is what's keeping this system a little westward as it moves. And you see it does cover, get a little blocked. That's when we get some dry air on that front a little early. But as it goes through the 23rd and on, the high pressure retracts back to the east and allows this system to move more northern. And you can see the full track here. Jamaica, you wouldn't get hit with too much of the winds. The rain bands would be the worst threat for you. Western Caribbean islands, you'll be getting hit with the rain and the winds if this comes into fruition, as well as Western Cuba. But as it goes towards the middle of Gulf of Mexico and stays warm, it stays a hurricane. All that brown gets all up into the 70s. Even the portions of white gets close to 80. So it will be hurricane strength, but then quickly weakening down, not only from the shear, but the dry air. And look right here, it literally goes down to almost an upper level low before it strengthens right back up to 50 and 60 miles per hour wind gusts. And you can see that here on your 500 millibar height anomaly as it pulls into the Gulf of Mexico and it gets hit with all these factors that it actually gets ripped apart and it almost turns into an upper level low right around the 26th, and then on the 27th gets itself back together, but it's a little too late. The sea surface temperatures are still too cool and is not able to do any rapid intensification. Still could be a tropical depression or a weak tropical storm. And here's a closer look for the Gulf of Mexico. As it strengthens up, once again, you can see it has a very broad eye, a very wide eye. And for something to get strong and intensify, it has to be close to the center and tighten up. And you can see at the high levels, it's still getting shear on this system. Medium levels is still holding, but from the south to the southwest, it's not able to continue to keep the eye. It is getting ripped apart by the shear. It's only at the low level, so it will be something weak, if anything, if it still comes, guys. And for those that hasn't seen the update that I put on my community page, the books are in, guys. We have over 74. We have 75 Bibles that I'm going to be passing out. If you've never been here before, we feed the homeless. We feed the elderly. We feed hungry people in general every single month. We need to give back and help our brothers and sisters out there. And there's nothing like spiritual food. We're going to be passing Bibles out as well, me and my family. I'm a one-man show. So remember, if you want to support me, all you got to do is click the thanks right next to the like button or click the join, because I will be live streaming all of these systems coming through our hurricane system. Those that have been with me for years ago, you do know I used to live stream almost every day for years. So live streaming does save lives. But at the same time, if you want to help out with the food, all links are in the description to support in any way. If you need my address, just email me. That's in the description as well. But if you want to help out with the food, make sure you mark it for food, because I have a setup account all set up for these people to help these people. And the money that you give for food goes to that account. So it needs to be marked for food if that's what it's for. And once again, thank you all for your support. We're going to help so many people. My heart's just jumping with joy. And this right here, I have no words for. Now, the Bible's right here. Of course, this all comes out of my pocket. This wasn't part of your money. I'm using your money just for the food. We all need to do our part. So I truly hope this has helped you understand a little bit of what's going on. And I really pray that y'all share this video. Click that like button. Share on every social media that you can share it to. Now, I do share on Twitter. I do share on Facebook. That is also in the links in the description. But YouTube has always been a close community in my heart. Very good people here on YouTube. So please share and help inform others, because others, like I said, just enjoying the weather for the most part, and they're not awake. They need to wake up. The tropics are here. Now let's start off our Thursday with the right foot, guys. Let's praise our Father in heaven, our God. Amen. Psalm 75. Unto thee, O God, do we give thanks. Unto thee do we give thanks. For that thy name is near, thy wondrous works declare. When I shall receive the congregation, I will judge uprightly. The earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. I bear up the pillars of it. Selah. I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up the horn. Lift not up your horn on high. Speak not with a stiff neck. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But God is the judge. He putteth down one, and setteth up another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and he poureth out of the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth, shall wring them out and drink them. But I will declare forever. I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. Amen. God bless you all. May you have a very blessed Thursday. I will keep you updated. Don't go buying any materials just yet. Still a little bit too far to be sure, but it is starting to trend a little more. Thank you all for your time, most of all. I appreciate it very much. And all glory, all honor, all power does go to Yahweh, our God of Jacob, our Father. Amen. Hallelujah. Have a great day, everybody.